I think probably one of the most overriding images of adolescence is that of the rebellious teenager. You know, the kind of Kevin from Harry Enfield figure, James Dean, rebel without a cause kind of thing. That whole sense of adolescent rebellion goes right the way through culture. And the thing is about adolescence is it's a time when young people are going through such huge changes in their lives. There's so much going on for them. But for me, the thing that's the most important change that happens when they go through adolescence is something that's captured by John Westerhoff in his theory of faith development. Westerhoff talks about the fact that we start with an experience of faith or belief that just comes from living in the world as a small child. Then we go through a period of having a belief system which is simply inherited from the people around us. You know, your parents believe something and so you grow up to believe it. And that's not just about having an established faith, it's about having a worldview of what's true, what works, what doesn't work. It might be a political thing, it might be a social thing, and obviously a faith background fits into that as well. And then when you hit adolescence, you hit a point of seeking. You start to question what's going on around you. And as you go through that, you eventually come to the point of having an owned faith, having something that you believe for yourself because you've worked it out for yourself. It's why that whole teenage rebellion comes about. We're simply going through a process of kicking back against what's come before and trying to work out what the system is, the worldview, the faith, the belief that we have as an individual is, and owning that for ourselves. And I think it's very easy in a lot of contexts to be really challenged by that as adults. In the home, in a faith setting like a church, even in somewhere like a school, and even in a youth work setting, when we come across young people who are pushing boundaries, who are questioning what's being said to them, it's easy to try and stamp that down because we see that as rebellious. But as youth workers, for anybody involved in young people, but especially I think for youth workers, it's important that we help young people recognise that that's not a bad thing. It can be done in a bad way. It can be done in a way that disempowers those around you or challenges too much what's going on around you. But that process of challenging what you've been told is an essential part of adolescence. And youth work context, a perfect context to allow those kind of discussions and debates to happen. Whether we're in a secular situation or a faith situation, it's important to allow young people to question, to get to the bottom of, and to learn for themselves what's the truth and what they believe. At The Door, as a Christian organisation, we try to do that within the context of the Christian story. But that doesn't mean that we're there just trying to convert people to Christianity. We're not trying to make people believe things because we believe them. In fact, the whole adolescent teenage rebellion thing teaches us that that's never going to be true. We're never going to be able to make people do that. The more you try and impose on young people a system, the more likely they are to kick back against it. What youth work should be doing is creating a safe environment for young people to ask those difficult questions, to challenge what they've been told, to grapple with concepts and ideas, and to ultimately come up with something that they can believe, not because somebody's told them to believe it, but they can believe it because it's something that they understand as true for themselves. Jesus says this profound thing. He says, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And at The Door, it's vital that we help young people understand what the truth is, so they can be free to be the people they're created to be.